Alright, abusia yemu bibi akwaba. Dr Zaato a political analyst. Sansona Edem Agbana K2 North. I think take K2 South or K2 North. I stand to be corrected. The voter region. What you say? Or no, a member of parliament. Sansona United Party. Ura no so kasa. Edemo mopa Solomon Owusu. And yes, I think say squad and omo aklashi. What you say now? The kind of heater omo aklashi titiri any Solomon Owusu ni Dr Zaato. What you say? When ever AG versus OSP. Doctor AG epe edi free OSP ho. Efa ken uforata. Se beya yibitimi extradite na di naba bidru Ghana na wapi face trials. And hun sensem and hun report and ana omudi abusuya yanko na yankuti ensen nubi. Aya shenin so sebe videos aya medibano. Key areas, important areas, baby a conversation no ponesi and your program ni na ya medibanti me poncho ya mon shenin so. No, ubetimi ahwe program but ebiana unya key areas no baby a key areas no one na meto me boase na matwitwa na me dia besomo yenko na TV yakobebe toso.
And they stay with us deep into the night, even when we had some showers of blessings from above. They remained with us for us to account to them. It tells me that the people of Ketu North are looking out for accountability from me as their member of parliament, and I appreciate. And also to say that, Roland, this weekend we will be celebrating Deza, and the people of Joje have actually started it's a week-long activity, but the Grand Deba is on Saturday, so I'll be joining the Paramount Chief, Togbi Joku, and all the other chiefs and queen mothers to celebrate Deza. We are inviting you to come and experience Deza. And ahead of that, we've already shared some seedlings, oil palm seedlings, to farmers who requested that through my office. Also to say in my opening remarks that this weekend we'll be crowning Mauli's 75th anniversary, and I want to invite Solomon and Dr. Zaato to Mauli School. That's the best secondary school in Ghana, and we are celebrating our 75th anniversary. That is not up for debate. So, Dr. Zaato, the mysterious looks that you are giving me already, don't debate that. Roland, going into the main issue of setting up specialized
that you've been quote unquote insulting people. Telling them that their school is not correct.
Oh yeah, Mauli is the best, and I mean when you have
on social media.
No, we are not insulting them. We are just telling them.
I know. I mean, it's not insult. We've been trolling.
We're actually trolling them,
especially the Hohwe MP.
Oh, Efo Walanyo. In fact, yesterday Efo came begging us for a visa to attend our.
That he went to HEPS.
He said he went to HEPS. Imagine, and you want to compare that with Mauli.
Somebody said they couldn't be located first 300 schools again. Anyway, let's go on.
But Roland, I am a member of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, and our committee deals with the Auditor General's report. Roland, when you come to my office, I have about 15 very voluminous books, and these are just the reports for the year 2024 that we are currently dealing with as a committee. Every state institution, ministries, departments, all of these things are captured. And Roland, when you go into the details, you would weep for this country, because the level of infraction, the misappropriation, procurement violations, and abuse of public funds across all levels, across departments, across agencies, it breaks your heart. And Roland, some of the violations are so reckless that one would want to demand instant justice if this were part of our laws. Because for some of them, even without any legal background or without taking the person through any legal process, you would conclude by what you have seen in the audit report. Let me give you an example. When we were considering the report for Ministry of Communication,
Sam George's place?
Sam George's ministry,
okay.
But at the time he wasn't the minister, because we are considering the 2024 reports now. Yeah. And I have copies of the report here. Roland, there was a company called Smart Infraco.
Absolutely.
This company was contracted by government to do some work, some revenue mobilization. The company did not, or they failed to pay government about $6 million that was due us. Yeah. But that same company was awarded another contract, and government rather paid them for no work done, in addition to what they failed to account for. So you look at this level of misappropriation, abuse of public funds. As a committee, when we go into the issues, and let me explain how Public Accounts Committee works. When we invite those responsible for these infractions and we question them, after that we present our reports to Parliament. When Parliament adopts the report is then sent to the Attorney General, and they begin the criminal prosecution. Roland, when you go to our courts, the truth is that there are several cases of financial malfeasance before our courts, but the processes are simply too slow. They are slow. So what we have done as a committee is that in some instances we've been able to get people to pay back, so at least we recover. So I recall there was a particular incident where a gentleman who worked with the Foreign Affairs Ministry worked with one of the embassies, withdrew monies meant for the embassy.
Diverted.
He diverted. I mean, he took the money, he spent it. He admitted when they appeared, he was asked to pay, and so he has been giving time and he's been paying. But beyond that, and so we've done a lot of recoveries. There were people who were being paid even after they left the service. There were some teachers who left or abandoned post 24 months, 36 months, and yet somebody sat and was still validating them. I sat here.
And the money was going where?
What? Into other people's pockets. Oh, you can't just say. Recently, there was one where the person died. The person died. The department, and that's why you heard my ranking, the Honorable Atamels, asked whether or not the heads did not attend the funeral of the person. So your staff died, the heads attended the funeral, and yet at the end of every month, somebody was able to validate for those people to be paid, or for that person to be paid.
Posthumous salaries.
For several months. So the question is, who is receiving the money? And it happens. I recently sat here and I said, even in my constituency, a secondary school, somebody had left post as headmaster, and for several months he was still being paid, he was still being validated.
Who was collecting the money?
I personally walked into the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, GS office, and I told him that, but why are you people behaving this way? And calls were being made, and so the question is, who was responsible for the validation? And how do you validate somebody who had abandoned post? And these things are happening across every sector. And so the corruption that we abhor, the corruption that we talk about, has become a culture across all levels in most of these institutions. And so I am happy that President Mahama is interested in having specialized court, because you see, this case is, when you are dealing with financial crime, it demands a certain level of meticulousness. It demands a certain level of forensic accuracy, because you would want to get into the details and make sure that everybody who is responsible is punished. And so when you go to court today and the case is adjourned, sometimes 2-3 months later, they come back, they demand for one document. Before you realize, people walk away with their, and you know, the law, I mean, the law of natural justice, you have to give hearing to the people. So even where the person admits that, yes, indeed, I have taken this, or this happened under my watch, you still have to take the person through the legal processes. So I am happy that we'll have specialized courts. What this will do is that you have courts that will fast track the prosecutions, because public interest eventually dies when, after several months or years, they are not hearing anything about the issues any longer. Look, the people of Ghana, as much as they voted for bread and butter, they are also interested in ensuring that those who looted state funds, those who stole from the state public resources, they must be punished. And if you have these specialized courts, it will help in getting us to fast track the processes and get those who were responsible for the looting, those who were responsible for the mismanagement, the misappropriation, the gross and plain stealing from us as taxpayers. Those people must be punished. The fast track court, for me, is the way to go. But Roland, let me also say that when we are talking about fast track courts or specialized courts, and they begin to do their work, I have come to the understanding that when you look at our legal system, many of these people, the accused, they engage in all sorts of gimmicks just to delay. So they go to court, place an injunction, file an application today, and all of that. And so even when they know that eventually they are guilty and they will be pronounced guilty, they engage in all sorts of tricks. Look at the case of the, I mean, this is not a financial, necessarily a financial issue, but look at what the former Chief Justice, for example, is doing. Knowing very well that she was going to go, she was guilty, but today she will file here, send this application here, place an injunction here, and all of that, and all sorts of gimmicks. We have started seeing that even in the case of the NSA. Today I'm reading from one of the news portals that one of the accused has been diagnosed of some mental ailment or what have you. Because the first day they went to court, the person went to seek for what? An excuse duty. Using being indisposed or not feeling too well. As we don't need to be tolerating some of these things. Even when we have to trial people in absentia, convict them, we have to do it. Let the court be sitting even every single day. Take this case, go on it. Dr. Zaato and Co can come to TV3 and rant, but the court should not pay attention to them. Let us ensure that when we take a case, we successfully prosecute those cases. That is the only way we can win the public confidence. And that is why some of us are so angry with the OSP. Roland, since the OSP was established by Dr. Zaato's government, which successful prosecution
since the OSP did what for
was established by the Akufo-Addo government, Dr. Zaato's people.
They did what?
What have they ever been successful in any of their prosecutions? Tell me. Maybe I'm not following the news. Maybe I'm too focused in Ketunov. Maybe I'm only listening to radio stations in Ketunov. Maybe they are not following the news. Tell me, have they been successful with any prosecution? So today, they will come and raise your hopes. We are chasing Kenoforiata, and then they later be posting pictures of Kenoforiata in Washington and all of that, and you don't even know what is happening to the case. Today, they start one new case, pick it, and drop. What kind of Konongo Kaya is that? Konongo Kaya, you can't do it. You start it, you won't let another person also handle it and all. So Roland, the specialized court is the way to go. And I want to commend President Mahama for his commitment and dedication to the fight against corruption. I believe the specialized courts will help us fast track the prosecution of the criminals who looted public funds. Thank you.
In some circles, yesterday I was reading on social media, was it particularly a post from someone on Facebook? It says that we pretend that we're dealing with corruption. For example, he just even made reference to the OSP case in which the Deputy Attorney General, for example, says that I haven't received a docket. So far, we haven't, as a department. Now, subsequently, you have cases that will be filed just to delay, etc. And really, the perpetrators are not brought to book. What's your own dealing with this subject matter of corruption, and then those malfeasance instant cases that are recorded in the Auditor General's reports across board?
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying good morning to you, Professor Michael Kwese-White. You are the new boss of SIGA, State Interest and Governance Accountability. And this...
He's new, he's been there for a long time.
For a while. Why are you now greeting him?
Maybe he's coming to him, I'm sure. Please don't attack Dr. Zaato. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I know your hands are full, and this directly falls to what you should want to do and you should be doing. I wish you I wish you all the best. And I know that if there's anybody who can help to get this SOE sector cleaned, and then you have what it takes. So just know that there are people out here who are cheering for you to succeed, and I know you will succeed. I also want to state that this idea by the president to establish this specialized course is one of the smartest decisions the president has taken to combat corruption in the public sector. It's a smart decision, it's a good decision, and it's a decision whose time has come. So I want to applaud His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana for this move and for this initiative. It's a great idea. Because if you look at this country, our corruption architecture or infrastructure is divided into two. There is that corruption which we associate or we give to what? Politicians. Edem Agbana and his people. And then there's that corruption which we give to what? Public servants.
I don't understand. Edem Agbana, but you're also a politician as well. So.
He's an MP, sitting MP.
Okay.
He knows, even he has not protested.
I'm not protesting.
I will do that in myself.
I'm saying politicians. I said politicians. Okay, let me say active politicians.
Okay, so you're saying politicians and
politicians,
then public
when it
servants.
comes to corruption, politicians are treated differently from public servants.
Like in the Foyata, the way we're treating.
Exactly. When the corruption or alleged acts of corruptions involves a politicians, we raise it high. We maximize it. We exploit it. We go every extent to talk about it and to try to bring that person to justice. As the Salih would say, we literally stand on the rooftops and we announce it. We talk about it. It is because we hope to achieve a certain political objective by that. So for instance, if the person is in office, if the person is removed, somebody will benefit from it. If the person is not in office, then that political party gets the name as being corrupt. So we hope to get another one. The opposition or the government in power hopes to get some political patronage from that particular aspect. So once the corruption involves a public official, a government appointee, we raise it. But when it comes to corruption involving workers or ordinary public servants in the state-owned enterprises and the ministries, we tend not to treat it as the same way as we treat those in the public sector. And that is why you've seen these gargantuan amounts of money, these things going waste. And that's why you've seen that over the years, we've come to treat this, especially the Public Accounts Committee, as a football match. We use it as a blame game and then nothing happens. So that's what I'm saying, that we need as a country, in fact, sometimes our culture and our utterances seems to legitimize the stealing of public servants. Everybody they chop for in workplace. We see that. Sometimes you can even help somebody get a job. And the person says, oh, I want to be posted here. I'm like, why? Oh, here you can get something to chop. Like, but wherever you go, you get your salary. Like those instances, sometimes it becomes, you even regret trying to help somebody get a job, because after the person has got the job, the biggest test becomes where the person wants to post it to. Where the persons want to be. So we've come to a general, even national service personnel. You still tell you, oh, they want to go somewhere where they can get something to chop. When we all know what your allowances and that things to be. So over the years we've done this. So if we have come with a system, wait. The question is, how did we get here? And sometimes I wonder, how come some of these major financial malfeasances to come? One, there are reasons. One of them is the late appointments of what I call boards of directors. As we speak, there are CEOs that have been working for about 10 months. They don't have board of directors. They don't have. So by the time the board comes, literally what they are left with is to approve things that the CEO has, because the CEOs are working, the director generals are working. We have turned this corporate CEO governance on its head, because ideally it should be you have the board of directors, then the board of directors there to supervise and oversee what the CEO is doing. But in Ghana, we've turned it around. Almost always we appoint the CEOs, they go there. So by the time, in fact, later the board chairman and the board of that have to learn the job from the CEO, whom they are supposed to supervise. So the guy you're supposed to supervise is now telling you about the job you are coming to do. So we've tried to do that. Secondly, we've over-politicized state-owned enterprises. Everybody just thinks that once my government comes to place, these state-owned enterprises are like a big fat buffet. Let's just go and eat. And sometimes you have, in fact, as of now, if you talk to any CEO or those who've gone out, that becomes their biggest headache. Every party member is trooping there. And they all think they have a legitimate right, one, to a job there, and not only any job, to a very good job there, because their government have come. And over the years, we have accepted this culture, and it's one of those that is festering what we are doing. Thirdly, as I said, our culture of as Ghanaians has also helped us very well. So for me, that's why, again, I'm going back to the point. I am happy that we are doing these prosecutions. But there's something that Edem said that was really important. These people have learned to game the justice system in Ghana.
You mean they found a way around
of gaming it? So as I said, you can delay it, hoping that your government will come into power and issue $7 prosecutes.
Okay.
Reward you when you go and sit down. We've seen that happen, and I'm happy you give the examples.
Do you think the same thing that's happening in the OSP Kenuforiata case? Because they've been filing.
Exactly, I'm saying the whole criminal justice system. People have.
So the Kenuforiata one is an instance.
The whole criminal justice system. People have found a way to game the system, and they game it hoping for two things to happen. One, either this government goes out, my party comes, give me another prosecute, and we've seen that. We've seen that people, those who have gamed the system, have benefited. We've seen that, and so nothing prevents others from trying to play a similar trick.
You said game, eh?
Yeah, they game the system by saying that, look, okay, let's do this, let's delay until one day this party goes, then we can come and say it was political witch hunt, and if we have friends, they'll give us 60-40 and we'll leave. So that's one. So that's why, again, I'm happy that these courts are there. Two, I want to appeal to the AG and the government, precisely because of this gaming system. They should also look for a way of retrieval. We've tried name and shame on public accounts committee, doesn't work. We've tried what was this that Leve was doing, surcharging, that's not work. For me, the government should prepare for a deal. You are a chief director, you are accused of wasting 2 million cedis. The government should outright, and sometimes because we hide this things, so we don't make them public, then people think that we are doing this. As part of the legal process, the government can come out right. We will take the money back with, let's say, 20% interest for anybody. Bring all the money you had. So if it's 1 million cedis, bring that money 1 million cedis with 20% interest outright. Then, as a punitive measure, we will reduce your rank by 2 or 3.
That is if you are still in active service.
If you are still in active service. So, for instance, if you're a chief director and you are accused of stealing 1 million cedis, now we say it's outright. You just make that outright. That's a trivial. Pay the 1 million one. Pay 20% interest or 30. How much is that? You can do the math, add it, and then we'll say if you're a chief director, we'll reduce you to what's the two ranks below chief director.
They have
assistant, deputy.
It's 3 knots. Even for a director, it's
exactly. So we'll do that. So that means
a director is over you being.
So we'll say that once you've done this, then what that means is that the government gets all its money back. It gets an interest on the money based on interest rate, and then finally you are punitively punished. And we need this because, again, it makes sure that we quickly get the money back to do the things we want to do. The big push program, 24-hour economy, and all the pay nurses, pay doctors, and those. We quickly get the money back. Then we also make sure that punitively you get it. And these are the things that will say, if we also took the money and went and bought a house, we could then retrieve the house. My point is that we shouldn't just be narrowly focused on caging people. Because when we do that, they have smart lawyers, they have intelligent lawyers who understand the system. And they say, hey, if you're accused of stealing 10 million, that means you can get the best lawyer in town. You can get the best lawyer to defend you. And the best lawyer defending you will do that. So let's come up with this, or the retrieval system, the punitive system, and the reform of these structures. Once we do this, we try to bring up a lot of sanity into the SOE system. Alfred, whenever the government of Ghana goes to the IMF or for bailout, Roland, whenever the government of Ghana goes to the IMF or for a bailout, check. The SOE sector is almost always one of the biggest culprits that drives us there. All the time. And all governments. Mostly it's the debt, the unsustainable debt there that drives us there. So that's what I'm happy that, as I said, SIGA was brought to try to do some of these cleanings. They are doing some job, they're doing some good job without answers. Let's come out with these courts and make sure that we also do the trivial. If we do all these things, then we'll begin to bring sanity into that sector. When we do, we need to make sure that people abide by the principles of their office. People who say accountability to your job, accountability to the law, accountability to your profession begins to work. And then we make sure that people are held up. Finally, ministers should stop that. Why do ministers accompany these people to the Public Accounts Committee? Why?
No, they are the heads.
No. You see, that is part of it. That is part of it. Because ministers, they are afraid that if we don't accompany these people there, they will expose me.
Oh no, but these are even new ministers.
So can I explain?
Exactly. I am saying that it should stop. I'm saying, minister. Remember,
so you are saying that those
can I explain
who undertook the act of omission should go and answer.
The point I'm making is that there's something called answerability. These people are called to answer for their professional conduct. They don't need a political cover. They don't. It's answerability. You are an accountant. Explain to me why you are paying a headmaster who is dead for 3 years. You don't need a minister to cover for you. So ministers should, see, I'm saying that there is this, of course, there's this symbiotic relationship between ministers, policy makers, and bureaucrats, policy implementers, and but this is not here. I want to, once it comes to Public Accounts Committee, no minister should go and cover anybody. Let them go and face the music themselves. Because see, mostly what happens is that the ministers understand what goes on the Public Accounts Committee, and it's their friends. Edem is an MP. Edem, he's also a member of the committee. He understands it. If it's like it's a minister, he understands the rules of the game, so he's able to help this people to navigate that committee without facing the necessary actions. Don't do this. Don't annoy him solo. He will do this. Don't ask for Walker. He talks a lot, so do this. Oh, ask for this. They give them how to survive in that committee.
So just cajoling each other.
Before they realize it becomes so. Ministers should stop that. Let the people go. They are professionals.
Today people are loving you, pal.
I did my studies on SOC sector. Let them go and do that so that we can see them be held accountable. But no matter what we do, we should continue on the work of Domiloville. We should continue the work of whatever they're doing and make sure that the SOE sector is clean up. If that sector is clean up and we are able to do these retrievals, the finances of this country will be far better.
Fantastic. You're being loved today. I agree with Dr. There's only few people disagree with you. They said today, Bawumia, do you go to Bawumia a lot? Because people seem to be mentioning you in Bawumia. But Solo, the reality is that there's a deliberate action that is undertaken by those who serve in public as well as political office. They know that I've undertaken acts of omission, or I may be asked to be responsible for actions under my supervision. So, for example, this Ken Oforiatta case. Come in, answer questions. It's a problem. You bring an issue and all that. Is it a show of us as a country being committed, or just trying to make efforts to play to the gallery publicly, locally and internationally, that we're tackling corruption?
So we are playing to the gallery. We are not tackling the issues, and I believe that the president's gesture, this action of calling the Attorney General, the Auditor General, to establish courts to deal with this matter will be the last stop to this playing to the gallery. Other than that, see how we play our politics in this country. I'm happy Edem raised an issue with the Auditor General's report in 2024. Remember last week or last 2 weeks, I raised the issue of Solomon Owusu.
Last 2 weeks as well.
Last 2 weeks, yes. If you go to page 324 of the Auditor General's report, it is clear that the woman deliberately decided not to go for the $6 million. And do you believe for a moment that she would allow the smart Franco to get away with $6 million without her taking part? The moment this matter was raised, the next moment she wants to go in for the general secretary position of the New Patriotic Party. Go under the cover of political banner. So that when you begin to go after her, what you then mean is that, oh, because she wants to be the general secretary of a political party.
So he's being
political witch hunt. You see, they think they are so smart. You go to the airport, the scholarship secretariat, someone messes the place up. The next moment, the person finds himself in the Parliament of Ghana under the banner of our political protection. You understand? Ken Oforiatta, and I've said time without, how many times did I not say on your studios here that the earlier you people sacked this OSP, he is part of the cabal. It is either this administration has deliberately decided to also shorten the people of this country, that is why they are keeping this OSP, or if they want to show to the people of this country that they mean business, they must get him out. When I was listening to Sremsai, I felt so sad that the Attorney General Department has called for the docket of Mr. Ken Oforiatta, and the OSP is not forthcoming.
Oh, so yesterday I had Sami Darko, who is the director for strategy.
Yes.
And he said that they are just working. It's a normal thing. They are no.
Sami Darko must keep quiet. We are serious as a country.
Keep quiet.
If he's collecting salary, he must keep quiet. They do not know the enormity of the problems you are dealing with. Here, as we speak, and here, let me send this message to the Minister of Roads and Highways, together with the Finance Minister. Contractors are dying. My family members who through no fault of theirs have worked, gone to borrow, are now dying. Mr. President, take a critical look at that and begin to pay contractors in this country. Else, you will begin to count corpses, majority of whom are your friends. And they are not being paid because of some of these silly acts. Money is meant for the state. We get them to dissipate it. $6 million. Do you know what you could have done to the economy of this country? And the woman is talking about, she got a nerve to write a long letter to come and tell us how she's going to contest for the position of the general secretary, position of the New Patriotic Party. The system being soft, being loose. Look, between 2018 to 2024, we have lost 81 billion Ghana cedis. Now, if you are going to take today's rate of, say, on the average 12.5, it means Ghana has lost close to $6.5 billion. But that is not the reality of the day, because each year has its own interest rate, exchange rate. When I did the computation year by year, let's say in the year 2018, we lost 3 billion. Is that not the case? That year, the average interbank rate was 4.8. If you did it systematically or year by year, we have lost close to $10 billion. How much did we go to the IMF to go and borrow?
3 billion.
And even that when they start get the payment, yearly affair, you have to go and describe how your grandmothers were before every year they will come and give you something.
You are meeting indicators. So
and that is describing your grandmother, how your grandmother ate, how you people fed before they even give it to you. Now we have all these monies here, and every year we put camera on civil servants who are happy to tell us how they stole. I mean, I don't want you to be beautifying or glorifying our irregularity. When they want to steal,
stealing.
It's stealing. They have stolen our money.
Obevia.
Obevia is sika. Obevia is sika. And they are building everywhere. And they say, look, we have set time with that number, the United Party, that let's do only lifestyle audit. It will be enough. And I don't believe that it's complicated.
What do you mean by lifestyle audit? Somebody has his building, has his 4
No, we know everybody's salary. That is why the country must be developed, structured in such a way that the system itself will help you to acquire mortgage. If you are doing our things right, you don't need to go and steal money from the state to build, and that you can go and assess mortgage. That's what is done in any civilized economy. If you want to buy a car, you should be able to go to your bank, and your bank will grant you a loan because you are working, and at the end of every month, then it is deducted from source. What the system we have created here is that you have to go and steal to go and buy. So it also calls for the reforms in our systems, how we structure economy in such a way that there will be advances to public servants. But there is no doubt that the public servants in this country are stealing from us. Zaato raised an issue, very important, that when you send someone somewhere, every day directors or people in charge of postings, they are under pressure. When you send this person to this department, say, no, I'm not going. Why? Because there's no money. Hey, have you put anybody there to go and steal? No, even national service. I remember my time when we were going to do national service. A friend of mine.
When did you do national service?
I did my national service at KMA. I was at the development control.
Kumasi Metropolitan.
Yes, I was.
Are you big Kizai guy?
Yeah, of course. I went to KMA. I said this morning, Edem has created a lot of problems for me.
That's why you people name the party.
You see, the president of the Old Boys Association of Prempeh College is on my neck. Why would I allow this thing to pass? That Mauli is better than Prempeh College. But what I told you right now is that he went to a secondary school. I went to a college. So
and I went to a junior seminary.
I went to a school. I went to a college. And Saturday I can't come because we are commissioning a 4-unit bedroom. Look, old boys of my year group.
United Party is commissioning.
No, it's a old boy. United Party will do better things. If we were in power by now, these people who have stolen this money, they will be working by now. By now they will be on their way to the independence.
But this time you would have been questioning the OSP on Ken Oforiatta.
You would have sacked him. He has no business being there.
He has to be sacked.
The office itself was created somewhere 28. Is that not the case? Now, one of his mandate is to go to investigate corruption and corruption-related offences, and then make sure he retrieves funds meant for the state to us. Is that not the case? Ever since his office was established, we have expended close to $1 billion Ghana cedis. He uses bulletproof.
No, he applied for it. I'm not sure they bought it for him.
Which one is he using now? Go to the offices and go and see the luxurious cars they are doing. How much has he been able to retrieve for the state? How much? Tell me ever since he came. You tell me.
You are making claims. So you are claiming that he all the cases he started, he hasn't come.
Let me tell you, if you want
he hasn't complete.
But how can he be appointed by for Nana Akufo-Addo, sworn into office by Nana Akufo-Addo, sworn to Nana Akufo-Addo, promised to Nana Akufo-Addo? You think that is why Nana Akufo-Addo can go and stand somewhere and tell you that Abane go here, because he knows the men are there to protect his interest.
You're making claims of that his position.
I am telling you the reality of the day. I have said time without number that it will not be in the interest of this administration and the Ghanaian populace. Our democracy risk dying if something monumental does not happen to the corruption that we witnessed in the last administration. A critical case alone, we are only dealing with the Ministry of Communication because of this matter. Smart Infraco, last 2 weeks, Parliament, your committee, they were supposed to meet the Communications Ministry. I hardly go to Parliament. I stopped everything that I was going to do to go to Parliament, only to be told when I got to Parliament that theirs have been deferred. When is it going to reappear? They don't know. I said, Jesus Christ. I want to listen and for the information of those at NITA. If anybody wants to shorten this country, I have my documents.
NITA?
Nobody born of a woman must try to shield anybody because pure TV has taken place.
What happened, Anita?
Because NITA,
allegedly,
the e-government data, the data house, they gave it to that company. In fact, that company is owned by our brother from Nigeria. No problem about that. It's ECOWAS. I don't have a problem. But one company called Asen Digital, came to this country and opened 3 special purpose vehicle companies: Kenny GVG, Smart Infraco, and Next Generation. Kenny GVG, he took them to NCA. And they gave them that whooping contract, that juicy contract, that roll. If they gave you that contract, I'm not sure this morning I'm sitting here. At least. They gave it to Kenny GVG. My senior coursemate, Franklin Kujo, has been fighting on this severally. Sometimes he wants to get high blood pressure. I said, Franklin, take it easy. This country, if you don't take it, they will kill you young. Because we know the truth, but speaking the truth is bitter. From there, he came to NITA and took this contract for them. They are supposed to pay 5 years. The first year is $2 million. Successive years, $1 million, deliberately.
Is it?
And 33 to look, you can even read for them this year. Non-payment of yearly advance, $6 million. And the person that supervised this ESRA is running route. Nobody wants to touch it. Because we have created a situation. Look, the people in Isawam, we are not better than them.
Do you think the courts will resolve some of these?
They have to. They ought to. If they are not corrupt, they ought to resolve these matters. And it is in the interest. Look, that The other time I was telling you about the ordeal of a circuit court judge. I've forgotten her name. She wrote a very beautiful piece. When I read the piece,
you were moved.
I shed tears. That, I mean, sometimes when she's going to work, she has to sit on Okada. The office that she says there's nothing to write home about. We need these monies to
second court judge.
Second court judge, a beautiful woman. How many of them will do that? That she doesn't even have any protection, security. That you go and do this enterprise, you are jailing people, you are doing all this, and you are exposed to the public. She's not being attended to because this money, the money that is supposed to be used to better her lot, has been taken by these people who are always on TV giving us beautiful nonsense. They explain this, and you are like, hey, if Ghana was your company, was that the way you were going to use the resources in the country? So I believe that the call by the president to establish fast-track court deal with this matter is good, but it is the implementation.
Specialized courts.
Whether or not those that the president met with the president. You see, the president may have very good intentions. He means to deal with the issues, but the president cannot be the alpha and omega, be omnipotent everywhere. He would delegate, and it is the delegation that always brings these problems. Let us take this country at heart. Let us see it as our own business, and that whether or not we will survive depends on all of us. And that if you mean business, if you want to deal with the millions of contractors who are dying in their homes because they are not being paid, then the root cause is the leakages and the slippages happening with our public sector. And that once we seal them, there will be enough money in the system to deal with the matters.
Edem, across the table, or just around the table, there's the agreement that the president has the commitment.
Yes.
You link that to oral. And then now we have this with AG, OSP, Ken Oforiatta, all these disagreements.
Just to give you,
how do we resolve that?
Roland, just to give you
an overview
and our cherished viewers an overview. Between 2020 to 2024, let me give you year-on-year comparative analysis of how much was lost to corruption as reported by the Auditor General. In 2020, we lost over 12.8 billion. 2021, 17.4 billion, meaning it increased. 2022, 15.1 billion. 2023, 8.7 billion. 2024, 18.4 billion.
That was election year.
Election year. 18.4. And
when you look at the election year,
and I have here a graphical representation of the irregularities.
12 billion. So you check the election.
So the next one,
2021.
Then increase to 17
2021 is 17.4 billion. Is here. 2022, 15.1 billion. 2023, 8.7, and 2024, 18.4. And I have a graphical representation.
Yes, last year.
Yes, last year. I have the graphical representation of the irregularities. The ones that came in terms of contract sums and all of that. Roland, as a country, we need to do something about corruption. We need to. Because it is what will consume all of us, consume the entire state, consume our democracy. Like you said, we are before the IMF. How much are we even asking for?
3 billion.
3 billion. Look at the challenges that we have across sectors. Non-payment of salaries to people that have been employed. What is the problem? Previous government employed them because they didn't have money to pay them. They promised them, left them on the payroll, and government has now given clearance before we are going to pay them. But how much is it as compared to what we are losing? People must be made to face the wrath of the Ghanaian people when it comes to issues of corruption. To a large extent, I agree with Doc on the fact that maybe the ministers should not be appearing before the committee, but currently that is what the standing orders are, because it is the ministry you are inviting. So when you invite the ministry, they will bring.
They have to come.
That's what I'm saying. That
because they bear the oversight responsibility.
I'm giving you a point.
Yes.
So they will come with the agency. So, for example, when Dr. Mark Oliver Kevo, the head of NITA, appeared before us and was answering the questions, at the time the infractions happened, and I want to place on record, he was not the one in charge, but he was answering for the institution. So tomorrow, if TV3 is invited to answer for something that happened 20 years ago on the morning show. You may not be the one on the show at the time, but you are representing the institution. So when Dr. Kevo came and gave us insights into what had happened, some people who probably, for want of better word, did not understand what happened, thought that it happened under his tenure. But he was appointed only a few months ago. Those who were in charge, maybe what we should be advocating for is that if you were the one in charge at the time the thing happened,
and even you are not in office,
and you are no more in office, you should be the one. Absolutely. So, for example, instead of Honorable Sam George, it should have been Esla also sitting there. It should have been the head of NITA under the NPP sitting there to defend or to speak.
Or even Ken Oforiatta being brought to the jurisdiction.
So all these issues, like I'm saying, all of us, as I sit here today, I'm a member of parliament. I want to see an OSP that is working, but unfortunately, Roland, it appears as though the OSP is playing games. I asked a simple question. They should come out and tell us, I know they are watching, that which successful prosecution since its establishment, and like he said, Solo said, look at the amount of money that has been allocated to that office. They have staff that are being paid. How many people have they prosecuted? What have they retrieved? Even Public Accounts Committee, I can give you a number of cases where we have retrieved money for the state, even though we are not prosecutors. Public account, we have retrieved money for the state. And the OSP, special purpose vehicle, set up to fast track prosecutions, has been extremely slow, crawling when it comes to prosecutions. But like I said on your show the other day, I have confidence in the AG.
And the OSP.
I have confidence in the AG. I cannot speak for the OSP. I have confidence in Dr. Ayini and his team. And I know the cases they are dealing with now, Ghanaians will get justice. Justice in terms of getting people to return what they looted and people being punished for crimes against the state.
Okay. Zaato, how do we link this with the public opinion and the expectation, and then also what the OSP and Ken Oforiatta and all that need to do?
One of the things we have not done so far with our public accounting system is that we say organization A has spent this amount of money. That this headmaster, I want to use the example you gave, was being paid by, let's say, the school. We never mention who was doing the payments. If you have to pay, somebody has to sign. Somebody signed. Who was signing? That's one of the things we do. And I think that maybe that is the accounting principle. Maybe in accounting, you are supposed to keep it dry like that. But we need a new form of accounting in this public sector. Don't say that my only school, for instance, paid a teacher who has been died for 3 years. No. Say Mr. Edem Agbana, who is the accountant at Mabuli School, paid this guy. Name and shame. Because when you hide it behind the school, then we don't know who is doing what. So my point is that I'm making a small recommendation to Public Auditor General. If that is not being done, let us know who in this sector is doing what, so that it becomes easier for us to put names and faces to the infractions. So we begin to know you are an accountant. Is this how you are supposed to do accounting? You are an auditor. Is this how you're supposed to do auditing? If we don't do that, then you go to Kolebe and say, oh, Kolebe has paid this amount of money for, let's say, a heating system. It has not been delivered. Now I'm sitting here, I'm asking myself, who in Kolebe paid that money? But assuming it's different, assuming in that report, because you will see somebody signed a check. Assuming you tell us that it was Mr. A who signed that check for that payment, then we'll begin to know who to account about. Again, let's not bury.
Just to say, sometimes they do. For example, just an example, when you look at this year's, the 2024 Auditor General's report, under page 19, under National Service Scheme, they said, we noted that District Coordinator, Mr. Frederick Ose, collected rent totaling 5,700 from 6 National Service personnel occupying the National Service Hostel in Tepa, but did not account for the money to the Regional Secretariat.
Thank you.
So sometimes
exactly. No, so it shouldn't be sometimes. It shouldn't be. It should be always, all the time. Now we know. Now we know the infraction.
And those are the people that shout the loudest about corruption.
Now we
collected rent from people you will not go and account.
Thank you for the help.
Let
me continue. Now we know in this way, we know that it is this person, the person has a name, the person has a face, then we can go after the person without snaring the whole organization. Because let's also face it, there are good people in some of these organizations. There are patriots in some of these organizations. Some of these people put the country above. Some of these country go and above for their country. Some of these people are committed to their profession. Some of these people do things for this country that they are not paid and they sacrifice. So when we don't try to do that, when we try to use a big brush just to make it look like all the people here are corrupt, all the people here are thieves, we are also forcing the patriots, the genuine ones, to join the bandwagon. But if we separate them, like separating the goats from the sheep, or like separating the wheat from the chaff, and we now say that there are some other good ones, we should do that. Secondly, I want to make another proposal to Auditor General. Sometimes name the good ones, the committed ones. You can see them sometimes from the audit that Mr. A probably had this opportunity to do this, or Mr. A, because of how good he or she did the work, it saves this organization this amount of money. Name them too. Name the good ones, because some of them in the literature we refer to certain people called local heroes, the men and the women in the organizations who abide by the rules of the organizations, by the virtues of the organization, by the principles of their training, and sometimes that saves the organization's money. Also mention them in your audit so that we can then know that this is, and these are the ones you should recommend for promotion. Recently the IGP did that. The anti-robbery thing that happened, the IGP acknowledged that this man, you went above and beyond. You deserve promotion. He promoted them. So let's see a similar thing, because if in the public sector we are surrounded by people, bureaucrats and public servants, civil servants who are supposed to do their work, and we are saying that they are costing this country, and then we can find some there who refuse to take the bribe, who refuse to manipulate the numbers, who refuse to put the dead person there for 2 years, those people too need recommendation, so that later on the junior ones can see them as role models. They can blend, and that is how we build a better, a more professional, independent public service. Let's do both. Punish those who do wrong, and let's see that we are also praising those who do right. In that case, we can build a better and a stronger, independent bureaucratic system.
All right. So our conclusion right now.
So the problem is that
what are the expectations?
the expectations are that they must go for the money that have been stolen. In fact, the situation was so worse under President Akufo-Addo and that of Mahmoud Bawumia. And I believe that Ghana must take a cue from that. And this takes me to a very sensitive area, Roland, that ever since we launched our new party, that's the United Party, we have seen a couple of individuals who, instead of coming up with any alternatives or why they think that our party will not survive, have resorted to cursing Mr. Alan Chebati. They are cursing him openly. He will die, he will do this, he will do that. We don't have any problem because they themselves...
Is that what's happening?
No, there is a guy...
No, Roland, Abba.
Buga.
He's saying no, don't say no,
Oh, let me do it.
The guy is telling you, you mentioned Dr. Zaato.
No, it's okay. No, please.
No.
Oh, Zaato, why do you want to take the time?
I'm not taking your time.
So you are not part of it.
Dr. Zaato, is that what is happening?
No,
he said people from the NPP. So that's what I'm asking. And I know that that's why I was asking.
Yeah, so
you are both from the UP tradition.
One chairman.
Anyway, I withdraw, Dr. Zaato, I withdraw the name.
One chairman Buga, we have heard your cases on Alan Chebati, but I can assure you that you yourself represent case.
Dr. Zaato, do you know Chairman Buga?
Chairman Buga himself is a case unto himself. But the truth of the matter is that if Chairman Buga has any case, he must direct that case onto Nana Akufo-Addo, who supervised this thievery, this corruption from 2018 to 2024 that we have experienced close to 81 billion cedis stolen from the public sector without him doing anything. If they have any case, they must stop insulting Mrs. Chamante that she's a Jezebel, she's this, and focus on those. Because
he did that.
Oh, they are doing there. In fact, they are insulting everybody. But you see, when they have no answers to what you are doing, they resort to them. But we want to assure them that the UP has come to stay, and we are going to help in getting this country rid of these corrupt people who today, this one, you go to the offices, they are there. This year, they are stealing. It's not going to end. They will continue to steal till we take drastic measures. That is why I agree with the president that he must give the Attorney General, the Auditor General, and the courts, the KPIs, so that the country can still re-establish its as it were, positive mindset towards the judiciary and also our state institutions. And that's the only way we can come out of where we are now.
I have a couple of comments, and this one looks quite interesting. So this one is coming from Michael Asari, who says, the people in office, as at the time, will travel out of the country once they go into opposition. Once they are no longer in power, finding them then becomes extremely difficult. Look at the current case of Ken Oforiatta. He's dead. Nobody can do anything to him. What the government must do is, before they leave office, their passports must be seized. And then we need to make the government office unattractive so that people will be willing to work. People who will be willing to work there will be more serious. All right. As copied. Okay. And this one is coming from a lawyer. It says, as a defense attorney, I can tell you that prosecution is no child's play. To prove beyond reasonable doubt entails a lot. Take the work of Ora, for instance. There were credible information as well as idle gossip sent to the preparatory team. To build a credible docket, you need weeks and months of investigation. If prosecution were that easy, Dr. Domelevo, as board chair of IOCO, would have pushed IOCO to recover a chunk of loot by now. As far as I'm concerned, we need to support the OSP to deliver on its mandate. Let's stop launching attacks on the OSP. No, it's coming from. Can I mention your name? Lawyer. Let me know so that I mention your name attached. And then Stephen Penn says, Stephen Penn is texting us from one. I said, today, Dr. Zaato is speaking like a patriot, all in his submissions. That is how we should build Ghana together. Kudos to him, Dr. Zaato. Every day, when he speaks like a patriot. What are you insinuating? Okay, so that is, like I said, you sent the comment in support of the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Special Prosecutor himself, Lawyer Leonard Sedjo, in support of Kisi Ajabing, the message this morning. And we have more comments coming through. Okay, so and then Moses also says that he said, what did I do to Dr. Zaato? Yeah. And then BT Sly also says same. All right, I have to know. Anyway, Edem, there are key issues that we need to take. Okay, so we have Edem Sananu, the System Movement for Corruption. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining anti-corruption crusade as well. And then so far, the special courts, is that the way to go?
Absolutely. As some of you may know, over the last at least year, I have been emphasizing the need for special courts. Indeed, with the new hat I wear as chairperson of the AUABC, there are some countries in Africa I've visited, especially Kenya, earlier this year, where they have special courts. They have as many as 12 special courts on anti-corruption, with a target of discharging cases within 6 months. So these courts meet daily. So the special is not just about the timing where they are meeting daily. It's also about the additional training within the sector and specialization so that the prosecutors, the judges understand the issues. And so you can dispense of cases rapidly. So I'm absolutely delighted at the decision of the president. I'm delighted at his action, the fact that they're going to draw this conclusion, and we are looking forward to its implementation. The other countries, Zambia too has done this in the past. I'm hoping we can learn from their experiences. I think it's a progressive decision that will contribute significantly once executed.
Now, the subjects of the courts also mean that they need to work rapidly. We've had fast-track high courts before, and so we've had some models that have been experimented with so far. If you have to relate that to how effective they have been and what the expectation of how effectively these will be, what will be your conclusions?
Well, the fast-track court, as was designated earlier, we looked at mechanization as a country. So what it was you put in equipment. But the rules of court, the administrative procedures did not change. So the courts were not sitting daily. You know, in our jurisdiction, what happens, you go to court today, they will tell you come back next month, if not next 2 months. It is the reason why the duration of our cases, minimum for such cases, is 2 years, and at the peak 7 years. So we don't conclude cases before 2 years on average. Minimum 2 years to 7 years. That's a very long period. In that period, most citizens would have given up hope that we are serious about fighting corruption. So there's a distinct difference here. And in recent days, we've been looking at the National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan, building on NACAP. And one of my key points was to emphasize that many lawyers confuse the issue of fast track with special courts. And so we should not use the term fast track because the mechanization did not appear to have worked effectively. So there's that kind of people are dissatisfied with the idea of fast track and the mechanization. That's not what we are talking about here. We are saying that the rules should change where they sit daily. So yes, mechanize, all right, have all the equipment, but the rules change so they are sitting daily on the same issue. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, within 6 weeks, 6 months, you can clear a case.
I see. All right. So can we win the fight with this?
It will only be one of the strategies in the gamut of strategies. It's not by itself the silver bullet or golden bullet or the panacea. We still need to have the COPO pass, Conduct of Public Officers Bill. We still need a comprehensive, anti-corruption bill where you have everything in one place so it's easier to identify what to use at which point. We still need to ring fence some funding for anti-corruption. We are losing $3 to $5 billion. Now, I think that the single most strategic space where if government were to invest today and to make sure that we bring down the billions we are losing, would see phenomenal resources available for development, is the sector of anti-corruption. And we ring fence some funding to make sure that we can promote, the recovery of monies, prevention of the losses, plug the holes. So the special court is one of those things that will begin to send a certain message. But a little bit of improving the legal regime, lifestyle audits, illicit enrichment, reverse burden, things that would then make it easier, as well as the sanction regimes. And I would love something that also covers community sentencing. Let's not have to go and spend money on people in prison. Also, even the plea bargaining regime. I think a structured plea bargaining regime so that there's clarity on how we approach it, and it does not look like some people, perhaps the political elite, may benefit from certain plea bargaining situations or out-of-court settlements.
All right. How would you rate the government's fight in relation to Operation Recover or Loot so far? Of course, headed by the AG. And then OSPs on the other hand and all the others.
Probably, I'm one of those who have always refrained from rating because I say, look, the sector, if you've been in, it's much more complicated than you think. But I would say I would give an above average.
Okay. So let me give the parameters then, since you're afraid to give 0 to 10.
Oh, certainly above 5. I would probably say 6.
6. Okay.
I would not get to 7 because I think that they need some time to go to get into the actual prosecution. And we always have that delayed lag in our space. What happens is this. It takes a long time to do the investigation. Make sure you have concrete evidence that you can take to court and have substantive prosecution that can lead to, rulings and sanctions. And so when you have a citizenry that's too eager and giving too much pressure, it's not really a good thing. My position has always been that the rights of people are at stake. Let's take our time. Let's give the AG time. It's in the same vein, the AG should give the OSP time. I have always said that I believe that the SP and the people there are doing the best they can. We've not had a situation where ministers, presidents have been brought before any entity, For the first time in this country that has happened. I think that they are doing quite well. It's the time they need to make sure investigations are done right. So the evidence they are taking to court is substantive, is concrete, is the one that will get you the kind of rulings you want. And so let's not jump the gun. So I think that the AG is doing well. They are committed to doing what they need to do. Once they get into the prosecutions and are delivering, it will help with the indicators so that we are clear And I also like the fact that the AG has been out there. I like the adoption of the style where as often as possible you brief the citizenry. Some people say they are talking too much. I don't think so. I think that that's the way to go, to carry everybody along, to make sure the facts are there, to set the precedents that will ensure that those who think they can continue with impunity will change their minds.
All right. So far, you have monitored the back and forth and the public debate on the AG OSP subject matter. What's your own observation so far?
I think it's much ado about nothing. And I think sometimes it's about understanding process and practice. I'll tell you a story. The last time when President Mahama was was president, I mean the previous time, at a point I was so disturbed by corruption, I said I was going to do a vigil against corruption at the Independence Square. And I wrote to the police. I was invited. At that time, the current IGP was the regional commander for Greater Accra. So at the regional police command, I was brought into a room with 7 policemen standing, 1 chair, and I sat. And they queried me about why I wanted to do this vigil. I said I was so upset about the levels of corruption and what have you. And they said we had to go and ask permission from BNI. And I said, according to the law, no. This is my rights, our organization's rights, Citizens Movement Against Corruption. We don't need to have to go to BNI. Eventually, the regional commander then, who is now the IGP, asked their PRO to go to BNI and ask whether we had permission, etc. I thought this was just, confusing the issues. When I stepped out, I think a chief inspector, Sid, I remember his name, called me quietly to his office and said, gentlemen, this is a challenge. You are right that this is what the law says. But over the years, remember that the seat of government has been at the castle. The president has always been at the castle. So the Independence Square has always been considered a security zone. And over the years, the BNI has been responsible for guarding that space. So as a matter of tacit agreement between security agencies, we've always understood that if anything should happen in Independence Square, we go and ask the BNI to prevent any theft wars. So the regional commander and the team are not trying to frustrate you. They are just trying to say there are other things you may not know based on practice and process. Why am I saying that? In my understanding of the issue between the AG and the OSP, I think the OSP is just trying to do a very thorough job. I think the situation is that on the 13th of June, when the AG wrote saying nominate people and add the docket, 3 days earlier, they had raided SNL and discovered information that they thought was substantive to even improving the case. So you have a very good case and you see opportunity to make it an excellent case plus more charges. And so if I were in leadership, and this is accountable leadership for me, I would say, give me a few more weeks to add that as well, so that by the time we deliver the docket, which is what they did. So I really don't understand the whole baloo about they are taking too long. If Ken Ofriatta had arrived on the 2nd of June, the 4 cases they were going to interrogate him on, collecting the data on those 4 cases to finish the case would still have taken probably about 2 months.
So, and the minimum can Bawumia nipa no NPP for Munipa, Dr. Zaato, I'm saying or sound like a concerned citizen and or sound like a patriot. Ubia or John mine hona or yes, peri Mufachemi. So Utieni Sama or Kaniha or making analysis. In fact, it say Dr. Zaato and Neno Sebi or Yenadjun say or man wabeka no quarry, no more propaganda. What you say. And this should be the daily conversation. Oh, yeah, MPP new. So, you're political analysts. MPP new in disguised. How are you political analyst too? Na yamu wakonya sebekasa. Ewo TV. Kakrakati say TV3. Na ubi jina honum na woka. Gini kwanza woka. You see, sometimes Mayana idi uhuyaw. And I've told you say yedim. And say the bar you bebabeka. Na ya chichim. Nina and some more can na OSP any I think say Owusu any communications report na the but on the more serious note no OSP any AG Attorney General de no de me ade a me hunu say omuntami nko and asono mmienu ko a mpanyinfoɔ sɛbi nsensan anaasɛ grasses a ɛwɔ fam hɔnom no ɛna wɔn ho ɛka adwa mu so ade ntia John Mahama emeki everything possible although NPP for no bɛkasa but I think that John Mahama should what dissolve that OSP position na onye den untimi o make sure say obey den kisi jaben obeyi na fi hɔ because it is like say adwuma na omodi share ne nsa no kisi jaben adwuma na omodi share ne nsa no onye odi free kufa de pen so ɛna wabɔ tactics delay tactics minim ne interest ɛne sɛ I don't know minim ne interest ɛne sɛ sɛbi ɔno no obɛgye sika kɛkɛ na wayɛ budget na parliament approve budget allocation na ɔmo de abra no na ɔne ne nkurɔfoɔ te sɛ Same Daakonom ɔmo akyɛ na ɔmo adi ɔmo wie akyira na ɔmo abɛdi ntorɔ de akyerɛ Ghanafoɔ. That will be the only interest a me menim paa sɛ ɛba ne sɛ yɛnka OSP ho asɛm a. But apart from that no, achievement bi ɔbaeɛ bia no, he hasn't made any good achievement, any good impact of Ghanaian people. Wura we yɛde yɛ taxes ɛne yɛde yɛtua ne ka. Ghana yɛ maame no ma ɔmo te sɛbi ɛyɛ Kantamantoa bi Akataban ɛyɛ Kayetia market and the other larger markets across the length and breadth of this country. A ɔmo ɛtɔn adeɛ sɛ ɔmo ne mfifiri okopie Motachiman market a ɛnyɛ easy. Ɛyɛ Kitampo market, Bono East, what you say. Ɛna okopie nso wɔ Sunyan, ɛna mɛbɛ ɔkasa yi Bono ɛyɛ Bono region wɔn okay. Okopie mu ɛna Wednesday ɛyɛ ɔmo market day. Okɔhwɛ maame no brɛ ɔmo brɛ hɔ nom a na nkɔfoɔ nam ɔmo so na aban ɛgye tax. Wɔn nyinaa saa nkɔfoɔ wei na ɛdi tu ɔmo ka o. So onim a maame nka nkyerɛ wo. Taxes ɔmo gye ne nyinaa yɛmfa nkɔ baabi o. Yɛmfa taxes ne nkɔ baabi a. Saa nkɔfoɔ yɛ OSP a wayɛ ne ho kokotii. Block-headed person. Wokasa wɔ nti deɛ onim ara ne kasa tenten. Sɛbi wonyanyi yɛ nso kasa tententen. Adɛn nti nka you see, sometimes you don't understand the reasons why these people they behave in such a terrible manner. Sometimes it is very devastating. In fact, it is very embarrassing to see a public office holder wouldn't be able to meet an achievement. Now, Akwa SP by then corruption our fight since 2021. We fight corruption bang. One case in the waiting media prosecuting Ukraine is on and auto you Aqua no way mres one amico I knew none or two no good father pencil and nay when himself best in a trap in for Macramo say among whom he be the Diluman radio Macram. You see, these are the people we need not to give them a space to even consume, an office in a sense, they always want to squander and it is bad. For it is sanity and community and Auti and Sutimus and Pal Sebi Dr. Zaato will make a lot of sense. Na Solomon Owusu so will make a lot of sense. You see, these are the guys. Edem Agbana, a young guy, young NDC communicator. You see, NDC for more betina by much because Monko for they know how to communicate. especially the young guys, they know how to communicate to the people. They know how to bring issues on board. They know how to, that young Edem Agbana, Ketu North for Ketu South, or no, or MP, go and check the kind of work this small guy, this young guy MP, first time, or I think the first time, a coffee Juma Udino. Go and check. Your MPs better now, so 20 years. Acquire the same. Chairman Zabunsu. Asante Bekwa nipa yi kra the same. First Speaker of Parliament, former deputy, who name kaka Joe Wise, Joseph Oseusu. Ghana na you know. So these are the people we need to help them when they are doing the right thing. Continue to give them the bait. When they are not doing it, just cut it them off. Chawadrin, Hanum, a number one authentic platform. And coupon should be watch I say. Bye bye.